for you sushi. I've had some feedback lately that have asked me how I make sushi at home, so I'm gonna show you. One very important thing about sushi is that it can be a little bit tedious. You're not gonna be perfect at it the first time. I know I wasn't. It takes practice like anything, but if you follow some of these steps, you'll be making your own sushi at home. It's really rewarding and fun, and you can put almost anything inside of sushi. So I'm going to show you quickly what I do first is chop up my ingredients. And that's important because you don't want to be chopping everything up after. So mise en place, get everything in its place before you begin starting your sushi. And number one, I would say, would be your sushi rice. So I have my sushi rice already done, it's already cooled, and now we're gonna get rolling, literally. So the sushi rice is done. It comes in, you can either buy one of these sushi kits, which is great if you're starting out. You probably don't have a lot of ingredients for sushi, so you can buy the sushi kits at most grocery stores, and they're gonna have your rolling mat, which is a bamboo mat like this one here. It's gonna have your nori, which is toasted seaweed inside. It'll have some rice vinegar, soy sauce, ginger. It'll even have chopsticks. So it's gonna have everything that you need minus your ingredients. So that starter kit is great. I actually have my own sushi rice because I have been experimenting over like the last couple of months. I make my own at home. So you can buy sushi rice as well in the grocery store, and it has your directions on the back. So all I've done is taken 1 cup of sushi rice, washed it in like a little sieve, strainer, and then you boil, for my ingredients for this one was 1 cup of sushi to 1 cup of water, put it in, so 1 and 1, very simple. Turn it up to a boil until it becomes boiling, about 10 or 15 minutes, until the water is mostly absorbed, and then you just turn off the heat and let your sushi rice kind of get nice and a little bit sticky is what you want. And then you add your rice wine vinegar. Now, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sushi rice, bring it to a boil, turn it off, and then I add my rice wine vinegar or rice vinegar. So you can see it's nice and sticky. And for this recipe, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of rice, I used about 4 teaspoons of rice wine vinegar. And it's gonna give the rice a nice flavor, and I believe it also helps with making the rice a little bit stickier. Then you cover it and just let it cool. So you want your rice to be cool. And then what you can do is get everything chopped up, and this makes it so much easier for when you're about to roll your sushi. You don't want to be chopping, so get it all done. What I have here is an English cucumber, and I really like the English cucumber because you can eat the skin, so it's really nice. And I'm just going to show you how I done the cucumber. So you want them in almost like everything to be in kind of like a matchstick form or a thicker matchstick. So all I've done is taken the English cucumber, it's washed, and then I cut it like a couple, it was a large English cucumber. And then you just take it, I like to make it a little bit even, so just cut one side just like that. And then what I do is take my sharp knife and kind of go in and around, kind of like you're peeling a fruit, but what I want to do is get the center out. So just roll it and kind of gently go along, so that way you're left with the skin and a little bit of the cucumber inside. And this is great for texture, so I don't throw this away. This would be great in a sandwich or what have you, so I'll save that for later along with this. And then what you want to do is take it and you want to cut it on, make sure the skin side is down so it'll be easier for you to cut, and then just cut it into like matchsticks or thicker matchsticks, like I said, like that. And so that's what you're left with, and it's really nice and crunchy, and it's great for texture inside your sushi. And then what I've done is today I'm going to be showing you, I'm using crab. So that imitation crab, it is a fish, but it's got the flavor of crab. And I'm showing you this one. This is great if your kids, if you don't want to serve your kids, or say you have a friend coming over who's pregnant, she doesn't want to eat raw fish, maybe your kids don't like raw fish. These little crab sticks, they're really, really great for that because they're already cooked. So I've just the same thing. They come in a little packet and I've cut them like 1x4 so that they're nice and stringy now, almost the same size as your English cucumber. I've taken avocado. Avocado is really nice and creamy, and I'm sure you've had sushi before with avocado, and just scooped out one side of it after I cut it and just sliced them. So they're like little fans now. I can take one piece and I'll show you. Now, if I have time, I'm also gonna show you one for the kids. So if your kids are not fond of crab meat, we know that kids like things like ham and cheese. You can really put almost anything inside of your sushi roll as long as it's easy to cut. If it's not easy to cut, then it's going to tear apart your rice and it's just not gonna work. So something like maybe cooked steak might not really work well in a sushi roll, but you can really put almost anything inside, even dessert sushi I've seen. So if I have time, I'm gonna make you another one that will be just like a ham and cheese roll up for your kids if you wanna introduce them to sushi. Okay, so let's get started. Now that I have my ingredients chopped up, I'm gonna push this back for a minute and I'm gonna bring in the other one. So, there we go. I have a wet, damp paper towel underneath, so it's gonna keep my board nice and make sure that my board doesn't slip when I'm cutting and rolling. All right, so next what you're gonna need is a bamboo, like a mat. And like a bamboo placemat's not gonna work. So you do need a proper sushi rolling mat. And as I said, this starter kit will actually have the bamboo mat in there for you if you don't already have one. I'm gonna cut my sushi, my nori, toasted nori seaweed sheet. And the reason I like to cut mine is because I don't like a lot of rice inside of my sushi. That's my personal preference. So what I do is I like to trim it. So I'm gonna cut it maybe about 2 inches from the top. So just slice it down. There you go. And then just, you can get rid of that piece. So then what I'm gonna do is take my seaweed or toasted nori onto my mat. This is just like this. Some people actually put plastic, like saran wrap, on top of their mat. And that is if you're going to do kind of like the reversed roll. So you see that the nori is inside and the rice is actually on the outside of the roll, but I'm not doing that today. So I'm not gonna bother with that step. So what we're doing is taking the nori and we're just placing it down on top of the mat, just like that. Now we're gonna move on to our sushi. So our beautiful sushi rice, it's all done. It's already cooled. And what you wanna do is get some down onto the sushi, onto the nori. I keep saying sushi, it's not sushi yet. And just put it down. Get a good amount, but not too much. Again, I like to have more filling than I do rice. The rice is like a filler, you know, so personally, I like to have less rice. So we can start with like that much. And then what we wanna do is kind of like mash it down. So you wanna mash it down so it's an even layer. If it's not even, your sushi is gonna come out looking a little weird. So mash it down so that it's all even. And I'm using a fork here because it's sticky rice, so it's gonna stick to your fingers. It's not pleasant, but it's gonna happen. So then get quite a bit because you wanna go corner to corner except for about 1 inch from the top. So right at this top here, I'm not gonna put any rice down on top of that. So let's just go right to the edge and all the way to the bottom. And I'm gonna show you, hopefully I can show you up close. I hope that you can see it, but all I'm doing is spreading out the rice with my fork like that and leaving about 1 inch from the top without rice. Just get it all down, almost there. And what you can do at this point is, if it's becoming difficult with your fork, is to have some water standing by and then get your fingers into the water so that the rice doesn't stick to it. And just kind of like manipulate the rice with your fingers so that it pushes out. And what you want is like all the rice to be even, except for the top, as I mentioned. And I like to make it very flat. Again, when you roll it, you're not gonna have tons and tons of rice. It's gonna be a nice, even sushi roll. There you go. Just fill in some of the edges. If you need more rice, take a little bit more rice with your fingers and kind of like fix up those little bits that don't have any rice. And that looks good to me. So now we're gonna go ahead, move back our board and get our toppings inside that I showed you a minute ago. So let's bring this back, and then I'm gonna start out with that lovely English cucumber that I chopped up. So I'm gonna bring it right in the middle. That's what I like to do, put it right in the middle. I don't claim to be a sushi master chef, but I do experiment with it because I want to really get good at it. And I did work at a hotel that had a sushi restaurant, and I didn't work in the sushi restaurant, but I have worked with sushi chefs. So they did give me some techniques, and I was always interested in kind of watching what they were doing. So yeah, I think I know a little bit about sushi, and I'm going to show you that, you know, you can try it too at home and you will get better over time. And then you take the crabs, or it can be raw fish if you want. You could do it, just make sure that it's nice and thinly cut like this. Again, if you're using raw fish like salmon or raw tuna, any type of raw fish, you want to make sure that you're using wasabi. But this doesn't need wasabi because it's already cooked. So no wasabi, just a cucumber, a couple of strips of the crab, and then I'm going to go in with the nice creamy avocado. So get the avocado down, 1, 2, 3. And you want to make sure that everything is, you know, you have a piece of the cucumber, you have a piece of the crab, you have a piece of the avocado. So that way, when you cut it, every piece is going to have some of that goodness. Great. Now we're getting ready to roll it. And some people like to add some mayonnaise. If you want to do that, sure, because it'll be nice and creamy inside. But for this one, I'm not. It's just how I'm gonna do this one today. It's really yummy. So with a little bit of water, you wanna take it in that little inch that we didn't cover with rice. Take your finger and just make it wet and go right around that edge here with no rice. Get it wet. And now we're gonna get ready to roll. So what you do is grab the end of your bamboo and haul up on the rice like this, kind of push your toppings together just a tiny little bit. And I told you, your fingers are gonna get full of rice, but it's okay. And then roll it over, just like that. The mat's gonna do the work for you. And once you have it, you can kind of see it's like this now. What we wanna do is like push down on it like that. Now we're not done yet, so then lift up on it, and you can see it's already making a roll, but we have to go further. So just kind of roll again and then put some pressure down onto it. And it's gonna really stay together or firm up. And then because this little bit is wet here on the end, you can go all the way now and just secure it. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just taking my mat and helping it and kind of push down a little bit of pressure like that, all the way to the end. And then there you go, voila, you have made sushi. Now another thing that you want to do is, it looks nice like this, but it's not done, you have to cut it. And so you need a sharp knife. If you don't have a sharp knife, it's gonna fall apart, there's gonna be rice going everywhere, it's not gonna cut through. So make sure that your knife is sharp. It's very important for cutting sushi. I don't have a sushi knife, that's next on my list, but I don't have one, so I'm using a nice fillet knife, and it's very sharp. So now what you want to do is these ends, there's always stuff coming out of them. So I'm going to cut off that first. So you want to like cut off as little as possible. So straight down through, and you see it already fell apart. But that's okay, because that's one for you. And that's what I like to do. I like to keep that little bit for me. And then we're going to do, you can also take a little bit, so there's stuff on my knife right now. What I want to do is make sure that my knife is nice and clean so that it doesn't ruin my sushi roll. Again, what you're gonna do now, turn us around, because I'm left-handed, so everything's kind of awkward, is to go down and get that little bit again. Get that down and get that off. Perfect. And now what you're left with is the sushi that you're going to cut for your family or for you. And you start by going straight down through the center. Now it's not a rush, but you do need to be kind of thorough with it. If it's a sharp knife, you're going to achieve that. So right down through the center, you can put fingers on each side. There you go. Beautiful. And there you go. So you've cut it in half and the ends are trimmed up so it's gonna look really pretty. And then I'm just gonna show you one. So what you wanna do again now is I like to cut it in 3. So once you have 2 halves cut it in 3. We're gonna go down like this. 1, 2. Actually, this is kind of big, so I'm gonna do 4. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4. So from this one sushi roll, you're gonna get 8 nice pieces of sushi. And then I have a cute little platter here. It's like a mackerel platter. It's got a mackerel on it. It's really cute. If you don't have that, just put it on a plate. But again, appearance is really nice. And you'll notice that in sushi restaurants that they always serve you on some kind of like a fancy plate. So then just take your sushi and you can put it upright if you want, especially if you're gonna make a variety. Then you wanna like put all of these to one side like this. And then what you can do is take some sauce, because right now it's quite dry. I mean, you do have the crab, you have the cucumber, the avocado's creamy, but you want to make it a little bit creamier. So you can take what I've done is just mayonnaise and gosh, what is it called? Just sriracha. So mayonnaise and sriracha is a really nice, creamy, a little bit of a spicy kick. Again, if you are using raw fish, you want to use a little bit of wasabi or put wasabi on the side. And then just take it, kind of drizzle it down. Looks really pretty. Something else that's really nice with this would be some roe, if you want to get really fancy. And then you can also buy, like this is called sashimi togashi, but it's made for sushi. So you can find little sushi spices, like this has got some really nice chilies. It's got some toasted sesame in there, and that's really pretty. So you can use this if you want to give it a little bit of a spicy kick, because I love spice. Just put that over the top like that. And I think that that's all that I'm going to show you. So that's the basic for homemade sushi. And you saw that I did it. It didn't take any time. This is live. If you want to fill it with other things, raw fish, if you want to do chicken, if you want to make it a little bit appealing for the kids, you could use like ham and cheese. If you want to leave it vegetarian, you could probably do like cheese spread. So I have like this cheese spread. You can go down with a little spread of it. If you want to make it vegetarian, put some crackers, crunch some crackers up in there, and then you have cheese and cracker sushi for the kids. So there you go. That's how you make sushi at home. Really nice and tasty. It's not that intimidating. It is going to take practice, so I hope that you give it a try and that you enjoy.